welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Taurus, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of August 2024. I hope you are well. I'm using the Crow Tarot for you today. It's been a while since it's had an outing. What to tell you, there will be an extended at the end of this reading. If it resonates with you and you'd like to go a little bit deeper, you can access that at the end. That's the first link in the description box. The second link in the description box is to my private community, which is the Order of the Phoenix over on the Circle platform. You can get access to all of the extended content for no extra cost and hang out with an extraordinary group of people. They are just wonderful. So if that sounds like it's something that will be of interest to you, you know what to do with that link. But for now, let's have a look and see what's going on with you. So could I have 3 cards for Taurus, please? There we go, there's the first one. Right, and it's come out sideways, so let's honour that. We have the 10 of Wands. Current energy, please. Ooh, we've got the Queen of Cups in reverse and 10 of Pentacles in reverse, I feel. We're going to go with the reversal. And what's coming towards Taurus for August, please? Oh, goodness, 3 of Wands. Now that's quite interesting because we do have a lot of retrograde energy permeating right the way through August, including a Mercury retrograde, so just be aware that that's happening. It's nothing to be frightened of, but I think the likelihood of forward movement is actually probably fairly slim, which is why I'm surprised to see the 3 of Wands coming up here. But this is the Crow Tarot, and this depiction of the 3 of Wands has a very particular angle to it, and I can see why it's this deck that wanted to come out now. So we have the King of Swords at the bottom of the deck. This is Aquarius energy. Obviously, Aquarius is where Pluto is currently stationed, or currently traversing through in retrograde. At the beginning of September, I think it may be the 4th of September, it will retrograde back into the sign of Capricorn. Which makes it feel to me like that transit is actually kind of significant for you, right? The Aquarius squares Taurus in the zodiac. So Pluto being there is going to be squaring either your ascendant by whole sign house or your sun or your moon or whatever it is that you're watching this particular video for. And it does feel to me like there are going to be some significant decisions that are taken by you toward the end of August in terms of your future, right? And I'll get to why I think that when we get there. In the meantime, let's give this deck a shuffle here and get some clarifiers and see what's going on. Look at that, interesting. 3 of Wands again in the centre of the deck. Let's see what's going on here. Can you tell me about the 10 of Wands, please? What is this here? Thank you. We have the 10 of Cups. And we have, whatever that is, 10... Ooh-wee, 10 of Swords. Interesting. 3 10s. Okay. Tell me about the Queen of Cups and the 10 of Pentacles, which makes it a 4th 10. We have the 8 of Swords. We have the Fool. Let's get one more because we've got 2 cards to clarify there. 6 of Pentacles, Moon in Taurus. Very nice. Tell me about the 3 of Wands, please. I've got goosebumps. Taurus. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but I got goosebumps there. Anywho, we have the Death card and we have the 8 of Pentacles with the Page of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Now, the Page of Swords is often given to describe the information gathering process. Sometimes it's known as the student card, and it can represent those periods in time where we're kind of scouting around for a little bit more information. Maybe we need to learn something new. Maybe we need to change our perspective on something, right? Develop a new set of filters through which we interpret the information from the world. But, like, my throat's closing up here because this feels like such a pivotal month for you. And yet one that has almost baked into it the notion of extreme challenge too. I don't believe in sugarcoating messages, as you know, if you've watched my videos for any length of time. And so this feels like it's the rough with the smooth, but the smooth is coming at the end. It's not going to be during the course of the month. And it's probably to an extent you haven't really been experiencing things in a smooth way for a little while now. What do I mean by this? Well, let's start over here. In fact, let's just shove everything up so you can actually see what the fuck I'm looking at, because I think it's important to create a little bit of separation between these three parts of what's going on for you. So this is recent past, present energy, and what's coming towards you, right? But whilst they are all obviously connected because they're part of your experience, there does seem to be three distinct chapters that are happening here. And one is contingent on successful completion of the one before it, right? Or at least successful experience of the one before it. That's not, yeah. So we have 3 10s here in your recent past, and as I said before, these denote some manner of completion, except that the 10 of wands here is on its side, and for you here, for me, it seems actually more like things are never ending. When the 10 is in the upright, we're talking about an ending that is here, right? We've been working too hard, we have been too burdened, everything's been too much, and it's the straw that breaks the camel's back. We're like, we're done, it's enough. Getting away from this. With it on its side here for you, well, let's talk about it in the reverse, right? In the reverse, it can be a sort of missing the ending somewhat, you know, like potentially even overshooting the ending. That's possible too. But it talks about a block or a delay or an obstacle. This just seems undefined. It's not like there are lots of things that are coming up that are stopping you from completing something that has been burdensome to you, because that still would give the notion of a finish line. And the way that I feel about this 10 of wands here is it's just relentless. It's non-stop. It's one thing after another after another. And whatever vague notion you might have had about what it would feel like for something to complete and to end, particularly in the realm of, you know, what you are feeling is pretty arduous at the moment, it's not there. It's shifted. There is actually a kind of a fairly amorphous feeling about this 10 of wands. And when we see down here that we have the 10 of cups and the 10 of swords as clarifiers, also cards in their own right that speak about endings and completions. It feels like you're riding a roller coaster between what feels really good and what props you up and makes you feel like you're succeeding at life and things are going well. And then absolutely the opposite end of the spectrum. But neither feeling is yet complete, which is a strange thing to say about cards that represent completions, in so much as we're not staying in any one state for too long. It's almost like it's just up and it's down and it's up and it's down and it's up and it's down, and the greater ending has not yet happened. I certainly would suggest that you have moved into the end phase of something, and that in all likelihood that may well mean that the ending comes about suddenly and unexpectedly and in a way that you weren't really anticipating. I mean, perhaps that's what we're seeing here in your current energy. Let me just pull another card or two for these 10s. 7 of wands in reverse and the 10 of swords in reverse again, with the Lovers card at the bottom of the deck. Right, the Lovers card for me is a card of manifestation. It's Gemini energy. It talks about balance. It talks about conscious co-creation with the universe, essentially. And on the one hand, you feel to me like you're very much in that vibe. You're very much in that slipstream. And yet there are so many things that seem to be equal and exactly opposite to that, that it's very difficult to position yourself in time and space where your understanding of the cycle that you're in has any kind of meaning for you. Now, the Seven of Pentacles in reverse is actually a card that I feel is incredibly welcome, because it represents those things that are not working out the way that we would like them to, and how we're going through the process of not just identifying them, but when the Seven of Pentacles is in the reverse, knowing exactly what it is that we need to do to rectify those. Like this endless succession of things that need dealing with. It's like the victories are very small. But then we have this Ten of Swords here, which is reversed. And it feels like the awareness of the fact that things aren't going to... that the balance isn't going to tip in favour of the favourable anytime soon. It's almost like it is what it is at the moment, and I'm not enjoying it, but I'm getting on with it. And at the same time, almost feeling a little bit lost in the soup of what your experience is right now, right? It's difficult to demarcate the end and the beginning of this particular, period of time here. Everything seems turned up to 11 for you. And sometimes this can be happening in the same day. This is not just a week by week situation. It's like it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. And trying to find that medium place to sit, that centered place to sit, when nothing is affecting you too much, but at the same time being absolutely surrounded with this fog of uncertainty about where you actually are. Now, when we come into your current energy, we have very notably the Ten of Pentacles in reverse, but we also have the Queen of Cups in reverse. This is Cancer energy. And the Queen of Cups is about receptivity. She's what you're allowing to come to you. It's what you're taking into you. And we have the Ten of Pentacles here, which represents, quite frankly, instability. Huge instability. If it in the upright talks about security, stability, a certain solid experience that has been worked for, right? Real investment has been put into creating something that exists and contains both heritage and legacy within its interpretation. What we've got is something that's being entirely upended, and I feel like part of the fog that was going on in here is also going on here with the Queen of Cups. Like, the question that you seem to be asking yourself is, how much of this is mine to accept? Whether it's the burden or whether it's the joy. There's almost like a lack of clarity about how you feel about anything right now. And that isn't necessarily a terrible place to be, although I imagine it feels very uncomfortable for you at the moment. It might be a brain fog. It might be feeling like that. It might be an emotional fog. It might be a trying not to attach yourself to any emotion too strongly either way, because if you do, you're either going to spiral or you're going to be knocked off your perch, whichever way round it goes. We've got the Eight of Swords here, and I think this is really significant for you, particularly since we're seeing the Death card over here, which represents Pluto, which is, ruler of the 8th house. We've got the King of Swords over here, and Pluto is sitting in Aquarius right here, right? And the number 8 and Pluto, they're all, right across the board, what they are concerned with, both number and planet, is power. Where does the power lie? Where does it exist? Where is my power? Where is other people's power? Do I accept the way that people are behaving towards me and treat it merely as a projection of what is inside them? Or is there a boundary here that I should be drawing against that kind of behaviour? To what extent am I contributing to what is going on right now? This feeling of uncertainty, this feeling of destabilization, yet at the same time kind of being anchored in the experience. I'm surprised your head's not exploding, Taurus. I used to hate the Eight of Swords, like with a passion, because it was a card that used to come up with alarming frequency for me. And the message of the Eight of Swords is that you're never quite as trapped as you think you are. But further still, it is in fact the way that you are thinking about the situation that is causing this feeling of claustrophobia and stuckness and trappedness and uncertainty. What do I mean by that? Well, we've already talked about over here the fact that you feel like you've identified, what it is that is wrong and what it is that must change about your existence. Whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship, whether it's, kick out into the ether a little bit more, like how personally you take people's projections, right? But we're going from the absolute solid and material to other more slightly out there considerations. But the Eight of Swords here feels to me like it's contributing to the Seven of Pentacles, and the certainty of the Seven of Pentacles is almost contributing to this Eight of Swords. Because there's a bigger picture here that you're not seeing. And it feels like while you're being ping-ponged from one experience to the next, like I said, often multiple experiences in the same day that sit on opposite ends of the spectrum. And you're desperately looking for this centre while still trying to work out what you're supposed to be accepting and what you're supposed to be fighting against, and what you're supposed to be internalising and what you're absolutely fucking not supposed to be internalising. The true power of this situation actually lies in stepping back from the experience that you're having and the way that you are thinking about it. When it is the workings of our mind that is causing the problem, that's where the Eight of Swords becomes a very welcome card indeed, because it says there is a route out of this. You might not like it. It may not be terribly convenient. It may not align with the plan that you had for yourself, but there is always an exit to a particular experience that you are having. Get these cards off the table, because I want to dig into this Eight of Swords here just a second. The Eight of Swords. What do we have here? The Chariot card on its side. Interesting. And the Eight of Wands. And the Page of Wands. Here, another page, another initiatory point, right? A point of exploration. But this time experiential rather than of information. This Chariot card showing up sideways, I think, is a really good indication of what is happening here. And it's funny, there was a similar sort of message that was coming out for Gemini earlier, which is that there is an imbalance, and you're correct in deducing that there is an imbalance and intuiting that there's an imbalance, but it is not outside of you. It is very much internal. We've got the Eight of Wands there, which is another 8, which can talk about incoming communication, incoming messages, emails, fast-moving information, fast-moving communication. So it's not you writing a letter to your Auntie Doris and waiting to hear back from her, right? Like there's a speed with this. But it also talks about amplification and speaks of acceleration in some points. Now, what's connecting these two cards is the Chariot, which speaks about setting goals, being determined, balancing yourself out so that you can go after those goals, achieve those goals. But it is a card that speaks fundamentally about the self. And there's something here, just like Gemini, that you are missing about this situation and missing about you, right? And it might well be just the way that you're thinking about this. Because the successive issues that are showing up one after the other are not the be-all and end-all of everything that you are experiencing right now. And I feel like somehow Taurus has lost sight of that. It's complete overwhelm. Like, everybody I know is overwhelmed as fuck at the moment and just trying to keep their head above water. But this is where the breakthrough is. Herein lies the breakthrough. And it feels to me that it talks about you trusting yourself. You know, we talk about the Fool as representing a, you know, the start of a new cycle. We talk about it sometimes in terms of leaping into the void, you know, really taking that leap that is necessary. And there is perhaps an aspect of that is in play here. It's like, how many indications do you need that things are ending, like things aren't the way that you want them to be? This feels like almost waiting for permission to make your life less hard. Like some sort of divine intervention that says, okay, Taurus, that's it, you're good, you can stop now. You can start doing something else. And maybe because you assume that the universe will stop sending you, you know, whatever crappy little things that you're having to deal with. And I don't think that it will. Because what's happening is your situation is becoming increasingly unstable and increasingly fragmented, because it's pushing you to a point whereby you initiate, through trust in self, something that feels much more in alignment with who you are than what you are currently wrestling with. Like, the tens are all over this, and some of them are in the upright and some of them are in the reverse, and it's that it feels almost like spinning around in circles over and over again. It's like, for example, this is probably a good example. There were a number of obstacles to my moving abroad that I had to deal with while I was back in the UK, that prevented me from going anywhere for about 2 years. And when these were all finally resolved, like, I literally had all the pieces of paper in my hand that I required, I didn't do anything. I did plenty of things, but I didn't do anything about the bigger thing. And after about 4 or 5 days, I was like, why am I not doing the thing? I thought, well, I seem to be waiting for permission from the universe to go do it. And I was like, oh, well, that's not coming, is it? I'm just standing here, spinning around in circles, waiting for someone to tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, it's time for you to go now. And I realised that I had to lift myself out of that space, which had already, you know, categorically ended, and start making the positive moves towards what it was that I had wanted to create for myself. Now, in that moment where I was kind of looking around for the universe to say, okay, it's time for you to go now, off you pop, which, in all honesty, is what it had done by giving me all the pieces of paper that I needed, I was not taking that leap. I was not taking my power into my own hands and saying, right, okay, I'm going to go change the things now. I wasn't being an authority in my own existence, and that's what I've been rallying against, that feeling, for 2 years before. And the universe went, there you go. I went, all right, okay. Can someone in authority tell me to do a thing now? Something about the way that I was thinking about the situation, not consciously, but subconsciously, had me just blindfolded, spinning around, feeling the sun going down. Ooh. Okay, well, my camera's just shut down because it's too hot, of course. So we're just going to flip to that that view, so you don't have the thing there. It's not a problem. I don't think that you're consciously stopping yourself from moving forwards. I think that this is a fully subconscious situation. And I feel, if I am honest with you, Taurus, it is because your sights are set very low at the moment. At the moment, it probably feels like I just need to get through each day. That's certainly how it has been feeling. Oh, there's another issue. There's another problem. I've got to deal with that. You know, I've got to plug into that resourcefulness of Taurus and just, you know, just fucking get it done. And at some point, all of this will end and hopefully that'll all be fine. No, that's not what's happening here. Like, there's an energy here of having to dig in really kind of deep with yourself and say, why are you thinking about the small things instead of the big things, when you can do both. Now, I would imagine you're probably feeling pretty tired right now, Taurus, if I'm honest. But at the same time, there's something here that's waiting for you to tap into it, because the Six of Pentacles, like that moon in Taurus energy there, for me is about not only balance, but grounded emotions. Your emotions seem to be somewhat cut loose at the moment. They're just sort of circling around you like some sort of vapor cloud. And it's almost like you don't dare to hope that things can be better. And maybe you are, or maybe you do. And you are hoping that things are going to get better. But what's missing is the leap into the void. And there's something about this leap into the void and this trust of self, like whatever happens and however unstable things are here, I'm going to be okay, that gives you the energy that you need. Because I think that you've fundamentally underestimated just how much this one little thing to the other, to the other, to the other is actually draining you. Because it seems like it's coming at a cost. And that cost is things not being allowed to complete in the way that they should. And they're not being allowed to complete because maybe you're waiting for permission from the universe. Maybe you're waiting for a decisive ending that shoves you somewhere. And instead, it's just getting foggier and foggier and foggier. Now, I said right at the beginning that I felt like towards the end of August you were going to be making some fairly pivotal decisions about your future direction. And let me explain why I came to that conclusion. This Three of Wands here generally is a card of forward movement. Right across the tarot, that's what it talks about. It's an Aries card, and where the Two of Wands is, you know, our internal contemplation of the consequences of following one path over another, right? With the quite literally the crossroads of something. The Three of Wands is the point where we have made that decision and we are now on our way. But this card is quite interesting because we have not a crow in flight, we have a crow that is stationary. And we have these three wands that are holding back, you know, all of this water in the background, right? So there's big emotions here, but they're kind of acting as a wall between you and the star. Now, the star is a card in the tarot. It's number 17, and it represents Aquarius. It also represents the future, our highest goals, hopes, dreams, aspirations. All of these things are covered by the star card. It's a card of tremendous healing too. And what we got here in August is a relatively static reassessment of the route forwards. Because it feels to me like your energy is being drained here, there and everywhere. Almost like somebody's pricked you full of holes, right? And your essence is just sort of draining out on mundane crap things that do not excite you, do not inspire you at all. And this Fool card here, as well as representing a leap into the void, actually just speaks to the innate trust that you have with yourself, that wherever you leap, you will be fine. You know, that you got through a whole Uranus transit. Oh, here's a little thing. I thought my Uranus opposition was over. Turns out I just didn't look far enough ahead, because Uranus is going so far and then it's going to retrograde. And it comes back into points of exactitude with my natal Uranus between now and March next year. I swear to God, I almost launched my kitchen table across the across the room. When I realised that last night, I was fucking livid. But it just means that, you know, whatever Uranian type freedom I have achieved for myself right now, it's not the end of the story. There's more to do. And so it is here with you. It's almost like you kind of settled into this routine and detached yourself enough from your emotions so that you can keep your head down and get on with it. that they're now acting as a wall. There's a barrier here. This big decision that I feel that you're going to be making in August is as a result of a number of different facets of you and your experience that are coming into your awareness as you seek to look at things differently, as you seek to, push at the limits of the parameters that your mind has set, right? And we all have those. Reality works this way. This is what we do. This is who we are. This is what we can achieve. And I really do feel like this whole month is about getting you to look the fuck up and realize that you've been down here, down here, you've been here. And certainly in this depiction of the card, like you're a crow. Like, this should not hold you back. You can spread your wings and you can fly over the top of it. You can, in fact, fly towards your star. So the question then becomes for you in August, where are you setting your sights too low? And where is it your previous set of psychological parameters, even emotional parameters, that are saying that we need to keep this small and reasonable and, well within our ability to cope with from a resource perspective. The Death card speaks of complete transformation from one state into another. And we have the Eight of Pentacles here. I really like this Eight of Pentacles because it's shoving you on from all of these endings over here by bringing in this big ending. And the big ending, I really do feel, is it comes from within, not from without. Whatever permission or sign you're waiting for from the universe, or even if you're just waiting for things to just naturally die down so that you can get on with something else, like, it's not coming. What is needed is a decisive ending drawn by you, where you pick up your metaphorical scythe and just cut a swathe around you and say, no more bullshit. I want to focus on this. I'm going to do this. Like I said, there isn't really much in the way of movement in this card. And you shouldn't expect anything too much outside of you in terms of movement in August. It's not like we're going to be absolutely blessed with, incredible opportunities that just come and knock on your door or anything like that, because it is this bear with me a second, I'm looking for the word, scouring data banks, I can't find it. No, it's eluding me. It's like the authority has to come from within. Okay, the Death card is often a card of really tapping into your true power, and there we've got another 8 here, also talking about power. 3 8s, 4 10s. You have to end something. And I would say you have to end the way that you're thinking about it and start thinking much, much bigger. We're not looking at the water, we're not looking at the ground, we're not even looking at these wands, we're looking at that star up there and saying, why have I taken my eye off that? Why have I perhaps not even contemplated that before? I'm going to redouble my efforts to sort of reinstall in me a sense of wonder about what I, as a limitless being, could achieve if I really put my mind to it. It's like the kind of realization that there is no spoon. You know what I mean? It's like a Matrix reference. You put all of this effort into trying to bend the spoon and it's not fucking going anywhere. It's not doing things. It's Neo's doing that, right? And then there's the little boy, and he said, it's really easy. You just got to realise that there is no spoon, and the whole thing just folds over in his hand. To sort of stretch the analogy a little bit, Taurus, it's like all of this effort that you've been putting into fixing the small stuff that has been monopolising your attention for quite a long time. Certainly the last 6 weeks. is you trying to focus really, really hard on the spoon. Right? It's like acknowledging that this is a problem that requires your attention, and now you're going to put the full force of your attention on the spoon and try and bend it with the power of your mind. When actually the reality is, it's about the star. It's about the future. It's about what you want to achieve that is an order of magnitude more fulfilling and expansive than anything that you have your eye on right now. And then taking the scythe to any bit of you that wants to be reductive in terms of where your attention is going. I would go as far as to say that August is going to change the trajectory of your existence. And not because anybody comes along and hands it to you on a platter, but because you really are leaning into yourself and trusting your star. And the work starts here. It's not going to start in you, for sure. That's where all the work is in August. But by the end of August, the work starts here, is you reorienting yourself toward your star. Now, this is fucking magnificent. I like this a lot. So, I'm going to leave it there, Taurus, and I'm going to go and do the extended. If you would like to join me over there, you're very welcome to do so. You can do that on Circle, you can do that on Vimeo. Links for both are in the description box. If that's not to your taste, then that's fine. Just be aware that August is going to be a month of probably frustration, but potential incredible breakthroughs internally. Transformation, for sure. Alright, I'm going to leave it there. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I'll see you soon.